One thing you need to know about South African people is that they can be racist if they want, and they can also be xenophobic if they want, but they are more xenophobic than they are racist. South African people hate themselves. South African people hate their own fellow foreign brothers who are black, who come from neighboring countries. They hate them. Whether some can argue that it comes from self-hate, some can also argue that they just hate black. They're not proud of being black, and they're not proud of anything that is black. That's why they get to be so xenophobic and so tribalistic towards each other as black people themselves. So today in South Africa, we find ourselves observing and reading a story of South Africans being xenophobic to a contestant of Mrs. South Africa. I don't know if you guys know Sherry Wang. Sherry Wang is a Chinese woman. Her family came from China in the 1990s, and she's one of the people who are the first generation of a family being South African. She's a South African. She was born in the 1990s, and she's also one of the contestants of Mrs. South Africa. And then there's a girl called Chidimma Vanessa. Chidimma Vanessa, her father is from Nigeria, and her mother is a South African citizen. Her mother is a South African citizen, but her mother also has family in Mozambique. And Chidimma was born here in South Africa, so she's a South African citizen. She's documented in the South African system, and she has a South African ID, and she's eligible according to Miss South Africa, the agency, and the contest. She's eligible to qualify to be a contestant of Mrs. South Africa. But South African people feel somehow that she's not. They're giving her so much backlash, and they're being so xenophobic to her. I, for one, I'm not surprised by South African people being xenophobic to Vanessa. It's their thing. It's what they know best. They know best to hate themselves. They know best to hate their own fellow foreign brothers and sisters who are black, who come from neighboring countries. They know best. That's what they know. That's what they're good for. They're not good for being so racist towards white people who are oppressing them. They're scared of white people. They will never face white people, you know. And I'm not saying they should be racist towards Sherry Wang, but Sherry Wang is a Chinese woman. They're not focusing on her. There's plenty of contestants who are white. Some of them, their histories refer back to Britain, some of them Netherlands, but they're quiet. And somehow they want to be so vocal about this girl, Chidimma, and somehow she doesn't qualify according to South African standards of qualification into the contestant of Mrs. South Africa. It's hypocrisy, because they will be the first people to preach black unity, black people should not hate each other. But as soon as it's a girl whose father is from Nigeria, but she's a South African, she was born here, they want to be so hateful, so xenophobic. To me, I know South Africans, I know that's how they are. I'm not surprised by them acting like this. That's what they are good for. I know them for that, you know. Maybe that's why they find themselves being oppressed by white people, because white people know these guys are so scared of us, but they're not scared of their own. So let's make them fight amongst each other and be divided amongst each other. But when it comes to us, they won't do shit. So yeah, it is what it is. It's the society we live in. We live with South African people who behave in that manner, who behave like that. And I, for one, I don't know what type of society these people in South Africa are trying to build when they're trying to encourage a black division. They're trying to encourage segregation and hatred amongst black people. I, for one, I think Chidimma Vanessa must go and represent Miss South Africa. She's a South African citizen. Most of these people who are hating her don't even know their own fathers. They don't even know where they come from. They don't even know their own grandfathers from their father's side. They only know their mothers. And some of them are using their mother's surname. They're not using their father's surname. And they wanna hate Chidimma Vanessa. They must not hate Chidimma Vanessa. They don't know their own fathers, most of these people. So they must not come here and try act tough. They don't know where they come from. Majority of these South African people, they are busy here wanting to hate Vanessa Chidimma, but they are using their mother's surname. They must not come here and claim in front of us. Some of us know our fathers. We know our fathers' fathers. We know where we come from. We use our fathers' surnames. So they must not come here and claim to us and act all tough. Imagine me who knows my father's surname. I don't even hate foreigners. I use my father's surname. I know my father's history, my mother's history. I know it, and I don't hate foreigners. And people who don't even know their own fathers, they want to be the first one to instigate xenophobia. Come on, man. Come on, get out of here.